Don't say order more yarn. Don't say order more yarn. Hey everyone, welcome to another video. If you're new here, hi, my name is Irene, and on my channel I share trying to get along with this sweater. And on my channel I share my crochet adventures. I started crocheting at the end of 2020. I'm totally obsessed, and I mostly like to crochet wearables. It's quite difficult for me to find inspiration or patterns that I really like. And so I am working on my own patterns and kind of figuring things out myself and looking at it kind of as a craft, but also as an art form. And yeah, so today I want to show you a finished object that I'm wearing. It's weird. There's a lot of good and there's also a lot of bad, but we'll get to it. Also, I didn't say I am in Austria, in Europe, so a lot of the yarns that I mention are probably easier for me to get than for people that are not in Europe. That's just the way it is, and I'm sorry. But yeah, I want to show you some projects, WIPs, and a little bit of knitting. And I also want to talk a little bit about knitting. And yeah, so I'll start with the finished object. So this is very free form garment that I made using a lovely yarn from Katja called Pluma. This is mostly cotton, I think with a touch of polyamide, but I think this is like 80-something% cotton. And I think you can see that it's kind of, it's not really bouclé, but it has that kind of, I don't know, texture. The construction is of course based on my half and half sweater. And this was my first attempt at creating this kind of faux wraparound. I have made one real wraparound, which I love, but this is kind of faux, and I'll show you hopefully footage. Sorry about my very casual outfit. I did not do justice to this top, but it's very much a work in progress. So let's start with the good parts. First of all, it was super fun to make, and I really went, I really feel like I just, there was quite a bit like free-form crocheting on this, which I love. Just kind of that freedom to play around with stitches, especially I think most of it kind of I did in the border below, where I switched from like half doubles to singles to double crochet, leaving, like doing some chains here and there, leaving some holes. Now, I'm not a huge fan of these clothes that look like a moth visited your closet. I kind of like it. I'm not sure it's really me. I think I might look a bit too frumpy if I wore that. I do kind of like that look. I know it's very trendy these days, so I don't know, but I do like it. So I also incorporated like a few holes here and there. It was just fun. It was very freeing. I felt it was very freeing. And because I only kind of did that in that strip at the bottom of the sweater, it was kind of freeform, but also kind of safe because I still kept the general shape and I wasn't going too crazy. But it was just fun, like switching things around and seeing the lines go up and down. And I used a large needle, a large hook, so this yarn with its texture, it's very forgiving. So I really had a lot of fun. It came together really fast because of the large hook, and also even though this is like very light, it still has very, very nice drape. Unlike, if you remember, like my purple sweater that I showed you, which was too light, I guess. It was just like wearing a cotton ball. I still like the way that it looks, but this one definitely has a nicer drape. Another good part is that I was very tempted to order more of one of these colors because I had 2 skeins of blue, or less than 2 skeins of the blue. I had 1.5 skeins of mint, 1 skein of pink, and 1 skein of the dark blue that is here and in the bottom. And I thought about just like committing to one color, and then I decided, no, I'm going to use what I have, because I'm never going to make like, you know, 4 different garments with these colors, or I wasn't even sure how I would like to mix 2 of them, although I do like this combination. This one not so much. I feel like the pink is a little bit too muted for this mint. Like the mint is still, while it's light and pastel-y, it's still kind of a bit more fresh than the pink. The pink is a bit more muted. So I wasn't sure about the color combinations. I didn't have anything in mind. I thought, okay, let's just use this, experiment with this garment and see what I can do. So I'm really happy about that, because even if I never wear this, although I have to say I do like to wear it at home, my husband was like, you're wearing something interesting, which is code in husband language for ugly. But yeah, I appreciate his attempt at diplomacy. So it feels really, really nice because it's a very soft yarn, and you know, it's cotton, it's like open. So I do want to do something similar for spring or even summer. Yeah, my issues were with, oh, first of all, I made the sleeves a little bit too long, but you know how that goes. It's just, this is very stretchy when you do this like so open, this stitch. Can't remember the hook size that I used. Sorry to say, I probably wrote it down, but I can't remember. But you can see that it's pretty open, like you have to wear something underneath. The issue that I have with this kind of construction is that because you have 2 layers in the front, you end up with a lot of like bulk from the fabric, just because it's twice. And with the wraparound that I did, like the true wraparound, it's also like that, but because it was a little bit shorter and a bit more fitted, I didn't feel it as much as I kind of feel it here. Like it's a big difference in the front with 2 layers than everywhere else. So I don't know if this particular yarn is the best choice for this particular construction. And also, yeah, I didn't pay too much attention to like dimensions. I was just like, oh, this is so fun, I'm having the best time, and I did, and I was just like, oh, let's see if I can stitch it together now. So it's not the best, but it was a truly enjoyable way of making this. And I think probably if I'm sorry if you hear that noise in the background, the drilling, I do apologize. I hope it's not too disturbing, and hopefully it won't last long. Definitely like 10 out of 10 in the fun department. I should probably do the same. I could definitely use the same stitch, the same construction, but I should probably just do like a regular V-neck, and I think that would be perfect and super easy. So if you're following along the crochet along, or you've bought the half and half sweater pattern, you can totally make something like this. You just need, like, my advice would be just to make a nice swatch and give you the idea of the best hook size for this stitch and yarn, because yeah, this created really beautiful drape. And I think the problem is I have so many projects, you know, in my head that I don't know if I will actually commit to making something from this yarn again. But I actually think it would be beautiful, and kind of looking in the camera screen, I'm thinking maybe this would be my color, and this would be really lovely for spring. So just do kind of the same thing. I love wearing more like loose fitted garments over a tank top. That's kind of my go-to in when it gets a little bit warmer outside, but it's not like blistering hot that, you know, you just wear like a tank top on its own. So this would definitely be super useful. And if you understand the construction of the half and half, which just follow my instructions, you should be able also to do this very, very easily. So I like kind of everything about it, probably except the front. But yeah, it was just a lot of fun, and I'm happy that I used this yarn. I learned a lot, and I probably wouldn't have, like, as I said, I wouldn't have done a project with each of these colors. So this was a good use of them. And then now that I see which one I really love and enjoy working with, I might find it a bit easier to commit to an entire project. So I don't know, I kind of like the combination of the dark blue and the light blue. It is very pretty. I do wear a lot of jeans, so it might be a bit too matchy-matchy with jeans. But honestly, if they had like some nice bright colors, that would be like my choice in a second. They do have some nice kind of more muted greens, which I don't have a ton in my wardrobe, so actually that might be a good option for me. I might go and check it out. This you can make in a weekend, really, especially if you don't make sleeves that are twice as long. It just comes together super fast. So really, really enjoyed it. It's just like so fun to make. Progress on my other WIP, the cardigan. Okay, so I'll show you what might be the finished half. So this is the right half of the sweater, and this is the back, which I think I showed you last time. So I did here some delicate shaping, let's say. Still have no idea if it's worked. I do think I made too many rows here. I think I'll have to frog a few rows. And then the front, I wanted to kind of play around with another kind of yarn. So this will be the front, and I'll show you. And I switched up the stitches. So here is my regular, you know, single crochet, double crochet, and then here I did half double crochet in the back loop. I played with it a bit. I can't remember right now at the top of my head, but there's also, I think one row is in the back loop. I'm not sure in which direction, or in the front loop, and then the other one is in the third loop. So that gives you really this kind of knitted look. And I did have to do some decreases in the first row because this yarn is much thicker. So what I did is I did the first row where I switched the yarns. I did 1 half double crochet and then 2 half double crochets together. So I decreased every, I don't know, second stitch. Like the second and third stitch I decreased into 1 stitch, and then the fourth one I did this regular one, and then the 5th and 6th again decreased. And that gave me what I think will be, I think it fits. So I think the gauge kind of compares, or the final measurements, you can see it's fine. It's not too stretchy. It doesn't like, you know, I don't know the word for this, but it looks okay. And I do plan to add on a nice border at the bottom just to kind of make sure everything looks nice and polished using this yarn. And also probably ribbing. I want this to be a cardigan, that's the plan. So probably just like, you know, go around the neckline and down the side like a cardigan. So that's the plan. So this is the first half. I have to finish the second one, put it on, and actually make then decisions about the weight, like the measurements, and if I like the look of it. And then the second half is still in progress. I'm almost done with the back, and then the front part, because this yarn is much thicker, it comes together pretty fast. So that's where I'm at. Let's move on to some knitting adventures. I have fallen down a bit of a rabbit hole with knitting. And first of all, I found this really great book. What I love about knitting is the finished product. The process itself, I don't find it to be as enjoyable as crochet. I have no idea how to frog anything knitted. I'm really scared of it. That's one of the things I love about crochet, that, you know, it's so easy to frog it. And you know, you don't have to think about like dropping stitches and all those things. So I find crochet to be a bit like much more relaxing, but it's also probably because I'm a bit more skilled. I did knit a few garments, which now that I'm like thinking about it, sounds really like, really, I did that? Because I can't remember anything about how to, you know, increase or decrease. I have to look up everything that I come across when I make a pattern. But what I love is the color work, the possibilities of color work, and just the finished, again, I apologize for the noise. Just the possibilities. So I found this amazing book. I think it's amazing, and I'll try to put an image of it here on screen, and I'll try to link below. If I forget, please leave me a comment and remind me, because I do forget sometimes. And what I like about the book is, first of all, it kind of tackles all of the main color work techniques in knitting. And it also has some patterns that I haven't even gotten to that part. I bought this on my Kindle because I wanted to have it immediately. But for craft books, I actually prefer to have a physical copy. So I might order at some point also the printed version of this book. So it has some patterns. I haven't looked at them, but what it has is it has chapters for each of the techniques. So, you know, like stranded, intarsia, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right, and all those other things like slit and all kinds of things I didn't even know existed. And it has a little swatch lesson at the end of each chapter, and it has exactly the same amount of stitches. So you could just create just like a long swatch of all the lessons, which is what I want to do. I feel it's a great way to practice, see also what technique kind of speaks to you more, what just happens more naturally, and which style you like without having to commit to a project. So you just do the swatch and figure things out, see if you enjoy it, see if it's like really, really difficult for you before, you know, buying other patterns, committing to a larger project. So I really, really love that. I did just the stripes, and then I did one row of stranded. So you see, you change color each stitch, and yeah, that was not easy. And I did order a little ring that you can put on your finger if you're a continental knitter, which I am. You can put it on your finger and it kind of holds the two strands separately. And so I was looking also for some videos on this, and I have to say, I think I recommended like once a few weeks ago on Craftsy, because Craftsy is a learning platform, and they have classes for several different crafts. So they have sewing videos, crochet, knitting, painting, cooking, quilting, yeah, a lot. And you can be like a premium member, or you can purchase courses. I got last year, I think I got some promotion, and I got the year's membership for $5. And then the full price, I think, is like $90, which I have to say, I don't think is like particularly high. I do think they have really quality courses. I did have one viewer, I think it was just the one, that didn't have the best experience with them, or had a hard time canceling. It's not, you can't just like click, you can't cancel your membership with a click of a button. You actually have to, for me, I had to write an email to an email address that was given on the website and ask for my subscription to be canceled, and it was canceled. So I did that before the year ended, before I had to pay for a full membership. But the thing was that first year, like last year, our internet connection was very, very bad, and the streaming just didn't work. So I couldn't really watch any of the classes. So I really didn't take advantage of it. and I barely used it. And so I quit the subscription and that's it. Since then, our internet connection, I'm scared to say it, but it has improved. And now I can stream the videos and I can actually watch them. And I was just like, I didn't do anything. And a couple of months after I stopped my membership, I got another promotion again, offering me, you know, the same email address. I didn't like trick the system or anything, if you want to call it like that. It's a promotion that they offer. So they sent me this, or I saw it on Facebook or something like this. Again, same thing. First year for $5, and then the second year for like the full price. I think it's like $89, something like this. And I took it again, and I have to say, I think their knitting content is fantastic. I think it's an amazing deal for $5. Again, you will have to pay attention to cancel it if you don't want to pay the full price for the second year. I didn't have problems doing that. I just wrote an email asking to cancel my membership. I wasn't asked any questions. It was just canceled and I wasn't charged. So that's my experience. The videos for knitting are, it's just amazing what they have there. Besides, of course, all the basic stuff of, you know, the basics of knitting. They also have a ton of crochet stuff. I'm right now deep into the knitting rabbit hole of what they have there. So besides like all the basics, you know, like how to knit, and like they have a class of like a million ways, not a million, but like 40 ways to cast on and bind off. I found another class that I thought was brilliant, and I definitely want to try that with a magic cast on. It looks really, really clever and looks like you could use it in a variety of projects. So definitely excited to try that. They also have a class. I thought that this was, I'm sorry, I'm like just excited and I'm kind of all over the place. I really wish, and I'm not sure how to go about it, but I really want to know more and experience more, which is not really fitting my life situation at this point. But the kind of traditional craft of crocheting and knitting done by, let's say, more indigenous tribes or communities in, I think from what I've seen, kind of the work that speaks to me, it's mostly Central and South America. I'm in Europe. I don't think I'll be traveling that far anytime soon, but I just love the work that comes from those areas. I just find this whole thing fascinating, just like craft and, you know, handwork, all those things, and how they are part of the tradition and the lifestyle. Also, I started watching a course by a woman from Iceland, and she was saying, I wished a little bit I were born in Iceland, just a little bit, just because the weather is I don't know if I could deal with that kind of harsh weather. But she said everyone learns to knit in school, boys and girls, and then every town has like a yarn shop, and if they don't have a yarn shop, they would have yarn in the supermarket or the post office or something like this. I thought this was fabulous. I just love that connection to tradition, and yeah, I found it fascinating. So what I discovered there, they have a course on Craftsy about Peruvian knitting and Portuguese knitting, which is done also in other places like Greece and Bulgaria, and it looks super cool. So they kind of hang the yarn on either around their neck for tension or pins. I really need to order a pin, like a Portuguese knitting pin. I think it's gonna happen. And it looks incredible. And yeah, there's just like so much there. I am missing a little bit of that in crochet. Things that just like speak to my aesthetic more, but there are also fantastic things in crochet. So I just think if this sounds interesting to you at all, I do recommend checking out Craftsy. And if someone had a bad experience with them, I'm really, really sorry, but I can only speak for myself, and I think it's an incredible deal for $5 to be able to learn all those things. Every course comes with like patterns, and it's just, I really think their full price is, you know, still a good deal if you take advantage of it. So yeah, I just had to say that about that, but I'm in my little world with my little pattern. So I think I'll wait for my ring to come for that stranded, you know, switching like every few stitches like in Fair Isle. I think I'm gonna wait for my ring. Did I say needle? I mean my ring, my special ring for that. But I think I'll try the Intarsia knitting, and yeah, I just like the idea of having just a little sample where you can practice, and it's very not overwhelming, not intimidating. So really enjoying this book. Speaking of books, oh, also you can see behind me, I put the blanket. It's not finished, but what I did do is I stitched 2 flowers on it. I still need the center of this flower. I still need to add it. And also I have here this extra border. I sewed in the loose ends. I have here this little border with the pom-pom yarn. I sewed those edges in. There's nothing hanging out. It's not finished, but I still feel like I can kind of display it, and hopefully I can add more elements to it. I hope so. But it was just like sitting in a corner, all crumpled, and I just wanted to enjoy it because it's half finished or almost finished. Okay, so I'll show you a couple of books. So I got this book thanks to, I'm not gonna say because of, thanks to Candy from Blue Eyed something. I forgot her channel name, but her name is Candy. She's lovely, and her latest video, she was also attempting to knit. I'm laughing because I'm sharing her struggles. And yeah, so she showed this book, and I was really curious about it. It's just an unbelievable like resource of stitches. So most of it, probably like 70%, I want to say, is knitting, and then the rest is crochet. But there's still like an insane amount of patterns here. So I just really like kind of stitch dictionaries. They're fun, they're inspiring, and this one looked like, you know, a mammoth of a book, and it is quite intense. The second book that I bought is this one, Custom Crochet Sweaters by Dora Ohernstein. And the reason I got this, I have her other 2 books. I don't know if she has more, but I have 2 of her books. And one is her Crochet Every Way, Everyday Stitch Dictionary, I want to say. And that, in my opinion, is the best stitch dictionary out there if you're making garments and you want to know how to increase and decrease, because she includes that information, and I haven't seen that in any other stitch dictionary. So in my opinion, I have a few. That one is the best because it has all that information. And then I have her top-down, I want to say, sweater book, which has a lot of useful information, but yeah, I'm not, the aesthetic of a lot of the patterns there are not necessarily what I like. It could be also just like, you know, the color choices are maybe not super inspiring for me. And I kind of feel the same way about the project in this book. I didn't buy it for the projects. I bought it for the information on different constructions and how to adjust them, because I feel like she really does that very well, and I could learn a lot about it and kind of incorporate it into my own patterns. So I just like the fact that she uses different constructions here and explains them. That is why I bought this book, and that's how I plan to use it. So just like to see the different, you know, how to, just different constructions. Here she explains it, like all the different options you have. I don't want to show you too much of the book. If you're interested, then I recommend buying it. But yeah, again, the aesthetics of a lot of these projects doesn't really speak to me. It's just not really my style, but I think I can learn a lot about how to create, how to crochet with different constructions, using stitches and colors and yeah, shapes that I like. So that's why I bought this book. As I said, I got a lot, I feel like I learned a lot from her other two books. It's not the patterns that I'm really drawn to, it's just like the information about construction, shaping, those kinds of things, I feel is her strength. So I'm excited to learn from this book, and I think that is everything. That's plenty. The 5th part of the cal was posted yesterday. Yes. So make sure you check that out if you're following along, or if you're not and you want to know what the fuss is about. But that is the 5th part, and it's the penultimate part. That means when you finish that 5th part, you have a sweater that fits you, because I show you how to do that. And all we have to do in part 6 is the finishing touches around the neck and in the bottom of the sweater. The sleeves are already done. I think that's one of the great things about a construction that starts with the sleeves, because that kind of most annoying part, or the part that is less exciting, we do that in the beginning from, you know, from the very first step. So even the ribbing you don't have to add later. We start with the ribbing if you want to include ribbing. You don't have to. Like this one I actually did without any ribbing. And I think for this particular yarn, it's, you know, you don't need ribbing. I really like wearing this. I think I might have to, don't say order more yarn. Don't say order more yarn. I might have to order more yarn. Tell me which color is your favorite, and if you would be so kind to also say which color you think fits me the most from the colors that I have here. There are a few really nice colors out there, so from this yarn, but it's not very bright, it's just kind of muted, a bit more mature. So yeah, what did I want to say? Yes, join the cal. I'll see you soon in another video. Have a great day. Bye bye.